Hare Krishna, 3.36 Bhagavad Gita, today's shlok. So before this, Krishna has been telling Arjun that please keep doing your duties. Even if you are at the level of Gyan Yoga, continue doing your duties to set a role model according to your Swadharma. From here starts a new section. It's very much pertinent because when Krishna tells Arjun that keep doing your duties, Arjun's mind probably is asking this question, but what if I want to do this duty but can't? There is someone or something which is forcing me to do the bad karma or the sinful things. So who is it? It makes us ask that very pertinent question. Just like Arjuna asked Krishna, who is this mysterious enemy of ours? So Krishna will answer from the next verse onwards. But let's look at this verse now. Let's first say the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let's start reading the verse 3.36. Arjun Uvacha. Arjun said, well, it's been quite some time that Arjun said something in this chapter. After a lot of verses, he's saying something. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichan api varshneya balad iva niyojitaha. So if we translate and sing this verse in English, this is how it reads. Then by what impelled one sins does a man without desiring, although O descendant of Vrishni, by force as if engaged. The translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? Now, actually, Arjun is trying to ask Krishna, just as we probably many times ask, that even when we are aware that this particular thing that we are doing is not really good, still we continue doing it as if we have been, we are being forced to do it by someone or something. We are very much aware of the repercussions of what we are doing, and yet we can't keep ourselves away from it. We all have this experience sometime or the other, Sometimes we start watching videos on the YouTube or, start watching television. We started off probably just as a little break from the work, but somehow we keep scrolling, and it seems just we just can't stop, and it's as if somebody is actually forcing us to do it. So that's only one of the examples, and we must have noticed this in so many other things. So here Arjun is asking this very, very sanguine question, as Srila Prabhupada puts it in his purport, which means this question is of great hope for us, because once this question is answered, we will come to know why we engage in sinful activities, in the avaram karma, in the bad karma, and spoil our prospects in human life. It is said that this human life is very, very precious. It is like a crossroad. We have been continuing in this series of the different species of life, And the human life is the only time, or the only life in which we have the power to make a choice, whether we want to downgrade ourselves or to upgrade ourselves to the Svargalokas, or to exit from this material world altogether. And that's why answering this question is going to be really very, very important for us. So Srila Prabhupada writes further in the purport that a living entity originally is spiritual because it's a part and parcel of the Supreme. It is pure, it is free from all contamination and naturally not subject to the sins of the material world. So what's meant by this is that we, or the living entities, the soul that is the part and parcel of Krishna. And just as Krishna is Satchidanand, absolutely pure, Pavitra, similarly, the soul is also originally absolutely Pavitra, free from all sin. So, now what is it that such a pure entity starts engaging in sinful activities? What comes over it? So as it is explained, when a drop of water falls from the cloud, it is pure, it's sparkling. But when it hits the ground, if it hits the ground, particularly in a muddy place, it becomes dirty, it becomes contaminated. Similarly, when the soul falls into this material world, it becomes, actually the soul doesn't become contaminated. Soul will always remain pure. But the consciousness of the soul becomes contaminated. And by this contaminated or conditioned consciousness, it starts to do the wrong things or the sinful things as we call them. So here Arjun is actually trying to uncover this mystery, that what is it exactly that engages this pure soul in the bad activities. So Arjun is even asking, anichan. Anichan means without ichcha, without the desire. Just as we discussed, if we come across, people in our lives, or let's take example from history or from the scriptures, we come across many personalities who, it seems, are habitually, performing sinful activities, like somebody like Duryodhan, for example, or Ravan maybe, It's as if, they want to do those sinful activities. So somewhere it seems that the voice of the Paramatma sitting inside has become so weak and so stifled that that person cannot hear that voice. And it is almost as if he is deliberately engaging in sinful activities. But there are many times when we see even the good people, the so-called heroes, engaging in such activities, against their will. It's as if, they don't want to do it, but something is pulling them to do it, So, for instance, the Pandavas engaged in the duel match, as we know, the Dyut Krida. And beyond a certain point, it was as if they wanted to stop, but something was impelling them to go on and on and on, So, here the question engages both the aspects of it, either deliberately or sometimes even not deliberately, without the will. Then what is it that actually is pulling us to do all these things? So, actually, in this particular question, there is a slightly hidden question, For instance, if the candies from the jar in the kitchen are disappearing, the mother very well knows it, who has done it. But when she goes to the child, she asks, the candies in the jar are disappearing. I wonder who's doing it. So here actually, more than a question, it is an accusation. So similarly here, Arjun is saying that it is said that, against your will, Krishna, nothing happens in this world. Patta bhi nahi hilta. So how is it that somebody can do, such sinful activities without your will? So in other words, Arjun is actually asking a hidden question here, that Krishna, you are sitting in everyone's heart as the super soul. So is it you who is impelling everyone to do this? Well, actually, Arjun knows. Arjun is a pure devotee. He knows it's not Krishna. He's asking that question on our behalf. There are many people we hear saying, okay, it happened because God's will, Thakur ji ki ichha, So as if everything is Thakur ji ki ichha. Well, actually, Thakur ji or Krishna has given us the choice to make certain choices in our life. And when we make the wrong choices, we somehow attribute it to Thakur ji, Krishna, unki ichha, But it's not like that. So even though Krishna is being, kind of accused by Arjun, that is it your will, is it your stimulation that makes people do these sinful activities, because it's you who is sitting inside the heart, So who else can it be? Obviously Krishna is going to start answering the question and dispel all doubts, because it's said that Krishna is sitting here in everyone's heart as a super soul or Paramatma, and he is the Anumanta, the Drishta, the Bhokta, the Bharta. He himself says that, later on in the 18th chapter, Krishna says that I am the witness and I am the permitter. So if you are the witness of all the activities and it is you who permits everyone, then it must be you who's impelling everyone to do this, So obviously, somewhere or the other, the doer of the sin knows inside that he is making the choice. But depending upon how contaminated is the consciousness, the person justifies it, wrongly justifies it by attributing it to someone else. Just like Duryodhan says in the Garg Samhita that, I know what is pap and punya, I know what is sin and what is not, but it's my nature to keep doing it. And since you are sitting in my heart, Krishna, it must be you who are impelling it. So, the person, the wrongdoer, often justifies his wrongdoings on someone else, and many times even at God, So there are many people who are, bad criminals and sometimes even psychotic criminals, and when questioned by the psychologists, sometimes they reveal that it was the voice of God from inside who asked them to do this wrongdoing. So why is that? Because they're almost convinced that it's God who's asking me to do these things. So it's actually their own propensity to make that sinful act, which they are justifying through somebody else and even through God. So let's see what next Krishna is going to say in 3.37 and reveals who is this mysterious enemy who is impelling us to do sinful activities. Until then, let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is the magic mantra and the most potent medicine for all our diseases, particularly in Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.